Donald Trump is headed back for a second term, the 47th president of the United States, and that means press conferences. And that means absurdity. It means people getting offended. I can already hear, listen off in the distance. Can you hear? I'm hearing everybody on the left getting triggered. Shh, real quietly. Can you hear it? That's the sound of triggering. I personally am looking forward to it, and we got a taste of it already. I want to go to the tape. Donald Trump, the Gulf of Mexico. It's been the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know. I'm not a fucking historian, people, but it's been the Gulf of Mexico for a long time, since before Ricky Cobb got here. But Donald Trump has decided, maybe Gulf of America has a better ring to it. Let's take a listen.
$50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico.
I didn't even know you could do that. Can you do that? I'm on Grok this morning just asking Grok, can he do that? Grok's like, well, no, he can't do it, but there's nothing to stop the United States of America from calling it the Gulf of America. And then that got me thinking, what could Donald Trump call other countries? Can we just rename any country that we want to? Can you imagine Donald Trump? Maybe he takes a look at China and he says, China, you're Karen now. China is Karen now. We're going to be putting some serious tariffs on Karen. And don't worry about complaining to the manager because you're looking at him. I'm the manager, Karen. Can we do that? Are there any rules? We're going to find out what the rules are in the Donald Trump second term. Mexico has been put on notice. We're going to take their fucking Gulf away from them. And take a look at this. Take a look at this. Headed for Mexico. Seek cover in Tijuana, would you? And we have some afternoon storms perking up and penetrating Mexico today. Looks like Mexico is about to take a serious thunderstorm there. We got a high pressure system headed south of the border. So Donald Trump, all right, Gulf of America. You might think with any other president, that's the big news item. There's nothing else worth saying. Well, no, you got to remember who we're talking about here. We're talking about Donald Trump, so I don't know. Maybe we're going to buy Greenland. Let's take a listen.
Your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. But we need Greenland for national security purposes.
All right, Greenland, Panama Canal, we want that. It's going to be the Make America Great Again Canal. It has a beautiful ring to it. Greenland, we're just now going to call Trumpland. It'll be the 52nd state after we admit Canada. I feel like everything's on the table right now. How many states are we going to have in a couple of years? 54, 55. Anybody else want in? I don't know. Who wants in on this? We got something going here in this country right now. Geography was never my strength, though, so this is a tough opening segment for me. But I do remember when I played Trivial Pursuit, I would just move from orange to orange around the board. That was like did you ever play like the floor is lava when you were a kid? Where you had to bounce around from couch to chair to footstool, but if you touched the floor, you were dead. That's kind of how I felt playing Trivial Pursuit if I was on anything other than orange, because that was sports and leisure. And so that would keep me afloat. It would buy me another roll as I made my way around the board trying to get to one of the big hubs. And it always pissed me off when I would get on Orange and I would get a leisure question. I'd be sitting there all ready to go. I'd have the wedge in my hand, about ready to put it in the wheel, and then I'd get a question about cribbage or some shit. And I'd be like, God damn it, this is supposed to be sports. Geography, I was never looking forward to it. But Greenland, the one thing I know about Greenland is right, I used to know Greenland is the one that's actually icy, and Iceland is not icy. Right? Does anybody else remember that? That's how I remember it. John Fetterman, I don't know if he remembers it or not, but John Fetterman continues to be the most reasonable registered Democrat in America. Speaking with Fox's Brett Baer, Fetterman saying that he's on board with discussing with an open mind a lot of issues related to the Trump agenda. Let's take a look at John Fetterman.
There's a lot of talk about Greenland, for example. Now, and I know there's a lot of freakouts, and of course I would never support taking it by force. But I do think it's a responsible conversation if they were open to acquiring it and whether just buying it outright. I mean, if anyone think that's bonkers, it's like, well, remember the Louisiana purchase? Oh, I think Alaska was a great deal too. $50 million, I think it was. It was referred to as Seward's Folly, and now that was Alaska now. So, I mean, open to having all kinds of conversations.
John Fetterman, the actual open-minded guy here, because John Fetterman, and again, I'm going to pat this guy on the back again, because every time you hear John Fetterman speak, he speaks with reason, he speaks with common sense, and he speaks as somebody that puts the interest of the United States ahead of political interest. And that makes me a John Fetterman fan. So, John Fetterman, keep fighting the good fight. We need guys like you so that we can hopefully reestablish some kind of dialogue between the parties in this country. Now, one thing I know is that anytime you're in a situation where negotiations are happening, where money is being exchanged, you always want to make sure that you get the best possible deal that you can get. And who knows more about the importance of making solid financial transactions than the WWE's own $1 million man, Ted DiBiase? Let's check in with him.
Jurisdiction in 2 countries anywhere in the world. We have the critical minerals, we have the energy, we have the electricity that America needs. And there's only one place I'd want to sell it to, and that's the U.S.
Well, you could sell it to us, or we could all own it together, and that's a choice we can all make together. You say this isn't for sale, but everything has a price. The $1 million man says that. Can you think of this?
Like I've always said, everybody's got a price for the $1 million man, even Jesse Waters.
And Super Sky Point to the great Virgil, who was at his side back in the day whenever he did that. I love to tweet about Ted DiBiase, as I have many times. Fiscally responsible is all that you can say about the man. Look at that. He and thinks outside the box, an innovator. When he couldn't beat Hulk Hogan for the World Championship, he just created the $1 million belt himself. And that's a Trump move. Right there. That has Gulf of America energy, doesn't it? Guess what? Hulk Hogan thinks he's the champion. I'll have the $1 million belt now. How about that? How you like them apples? Is Ted DiBiase, could we put him in the mix for treasurer? I don't know. Has Trump nominated somebody for treasurer? I feel like DiBiase could serve our country admirably in that capacity. And now I'm going to go to a man who downed an IPA admirably on yesterday's program. We're going to have to see if his palate has rebounded from that right now. So let's go to the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee, Ronnie T-Shirts. And Ronnie, before we get into Donald Trump, John Fetterman, Greenland, and our hot takes on Greenland, I love the fact that you and I have been given a forum where we can come on and give our analysis of whether or not the United States should attempt to get Greenland. But how are you doing, pal? After yesterday's IPA there that you were struggling with a little bit on the program?
So I was talking to Tyler yesterday, and she says, is it the worst thing that you've ever tasted? And I said, no, it's not the worst thing I've ever tasted, but it is by far the worst thing I've ever completed, right? So I've tasted things that are significantly worse than that IPA, but I just stop immediately. So that was the worst thing I ever had to complete. And I'd say, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes after the show, I went and laid down. One, I didn't feel that great. And two, I was tired. So I guess it was a good punishment because I didn't like it.
Well, one of the highlights for me in the history of this program, and I'm not sure either, I don't know. Today is either our 100th show or yesterday was our 100th show. We obviously,
let's call it today.
We're keeping track of this like a great grandchild who's not really worried about visiting grandma. Is she 100?
Fact checkers?
Is it her birthday?
Or community?
Do we even know? Yeah, maybe. Can we get the fact checkers that are out of work now from Facebook?
Exactly. Give them something to do.
Come in and they need a gig, right? So maybe we could have them come in and look at that. But in the history of the program, I think one of my favorite moments, Ron, is seeing you visibly buzzed, which you confirmed for me later was actually true. Just finish it off your drink and talking to New York Giants legend Carl Banks.
Is that?
Yeah,
it's what you do.
Is this still real life, Ron?
Yeah.
You know, as one does.
Yeah.
I saw that Carl retweeted you yesterday.
He did. I mean, me and Carl we're friends. We're friends.
Well, you guys were united in your mutual distaste for Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yep. There's a lot of relationships I have where that is the common bond.
Yeah, that's what joined you. All right, Ron. So before we go any further, any takes that you have about Trump, Gulf of America, Greenland, John Fetterman? The floor is open, my friend.
All right. So I want to I'm going to read you a tweet that one of my friends sent this morning, and I think it's pretty funny. It's from a guy named Justin Murphy, and he said, "This guy is the absolute master of proposing things you never asked for, but as soon as you hear it, you realize you've always wanted it." Like, it's true, right?
Well, it actually is true, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I'm like, we could do that. We could do
yes.
Yeah, Gulf of America sounds awesome. Fucking A, the Gulf of America.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Greenland? I don't know shit about Greenland. I looked it up. There's only like 50,000+ people that even live there. And I'm hearing, Ron, that the Democrats, they're thinking that since maybe we're going to acquire Greenland, they're already wanting to ship illegals there so that they can get a grip on the population in case Greenland has a say in anything. So I believe we're going to be looking for Biden to be sending just plane loads of Haitians to Greenland just in case they need them later. But
Greenland fascinates me. I've flown over it a couple times because that's how, when you come back from Europe, you arc over, and so we'll actually look out the window and we'll see, like, we can see, I don't know how much it is, but it's just the tip. But we'll take pictures and we're like, this is pretty cool. Just the tip. But it's Greenland and it's pretty good. But Fetterman, I actually watched that live last night on Fox, and he was with I can't remember what her name was, the rep from Alabama, and who's a Republican. And I mean, we've talked about this before, Ricky, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it until he changes my mind. But my goodness, the change in my opinion of that guy has been crazy. He just is. He seems like a good guy, and he's common sense. I mean, he was talking about, we need to get rid of illegal immigrants that are causing problems here. He says, but you know what? I'm still for dreamers staying. And it's like, he thinks things out. Like, whether you agree with him or not, he thinks them out. He just doesn't do party line.
He's not just my favorite Democrat. He's one of my short list favorite politicians, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not many that I would put ahead of the guy because he's just real.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
for real.
I mean, I've say this a
Wearing
lot.
his
I
hoodie,
really want, I really want to get him on the show because I think you guys would vibe really well. Like he's our age, so I'm sure that you guys have a lot to talk about that's not just politics. Like I think he would be a great guest.
Yeah, I want to be bros with John Fetterman.
Absolutely.
So Ernie, go do it. Caitlin Clark. You think Caitlin Clark and John Fetterman could find any common ground? Ron?
I think so.
I'm trying to move to the WNBA. It seems like JuJu Watkins. Yeah, I'm transitioning is a loaded word in our society today, Ron. But I will say JuJu Watkins, who might be even better than Caitlin Clark, depending upon who you listen to. Ronnie T-Shirts, America's foremost women's basketball ability analyst, says that she's better than Caitlin Clark. I'm reserving judgment on that.
I said could be.
But JuJu Watkins, you said she could be, but you were pretty high on her. Well, JuJu had some nice things to say about Caitlin Clark. She liked Caitlin Clark's comments where Caitlin acknowledged her white privilege. And JuJu Watkins, I don't know. I mean, from the comments that I saw, it seems like Caitlin might one day have a rival in the WNBA that is a little more likable than her current antagonist, who, Ron, hold a thought there. Take a look. Look who's on the cover of the most recent edition of Vogue magazine. Ronnie, there she is. It's always been both basketball and fashion.
Do not objectify her.
Well, that one is classy, at least. You know what I mean? That you could show that magazine cover to you could show it to your mother.
Yeah, it's classy.
Is what I'm saying. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you could. But the WNBA making off-season news. Remember when just the thought of the WNBA making news at all would be shocking? And now here we are in the off-season. I know 3 women's basketball players here. I'm very proud of myself.
I mean, you said that she could be joining Caitlin in the WNBA. I mean, is that really probably? Do you think that's going to happen?
Come on,
I mean,
man.
George Karl thinks she's going to be in the NBA. I mean, she's that good, man.
Coach Karl's taking one on the chin there.
I mean, it's either her.
Well,
it's either him or
may
Swoops.
have gotten carried away. Well, the thing about that is George Karl played in the league. He played in the ABA. He coached in the NBA forever. He's somewhere on the very short list of most wins all time. Jared, you can look it up. He's top 5 probably regular season wins, something like that off the top of my head. And, you know, he knows better than anybody what it takes to play in the NBA.
All of that is erased by that stupid comment. All his accolades erased by a stupid comment.
I don't know. That could have been virtue signaling, Ron. I'm not sure. It's hard to think that he really believes that. But speaking of basketball opinions and people who believe what they say, Charles Barkley always says what he means and means what he says. One of the many reasons that I love the guy and millions of others love him too. He's got some thoughts on the Michael Jordan LeBron GOAT argument. Let's go to Sir Charles.
I think it's lazy to get into the LeBron and Michael thing.
Yeah.
Because they both extraordinary. But I've never seen a better basketball player than Michael Jordan. And I always use this analogy because I don't even put LeBron above Kobe. I say, but the difference is LeBron's a nice guy. Nobody ever said that shit about Michael and Kobe. Yeah. No, and they're like, yo, man, these dudes out here trying to kill people. And I always tell people that's the difference in my opinion. I said, man, Michael and Kobe, they're mean guys. They're gonna kick your ass and tell you about it the whole time. Like LeBron's a great player, but he's a really nice man. That's the difference.
I agree with every bit of that. I don't know how nice LeBron is. I think LeBron I think he's got a lot of bad takes that have turned a lot of people against him, but I don't think that LeBron is a bad guy. But I don't think that he doesn't have that killer instinct that Michael and Kobe have. Both of those guys were assholes. Let's be honest. They were assholes. I know that we love Michael, and I know that Kobe has been sainted in death, and I'm saying that they're assholes in the absolute most complimentary way that I can, but those guys were assholes, and they would do anything to beat you. Ron, remember when Kobe ran and hit Pau Gasol right at the start of the Olympic game against Spain? And that guy, it was like family to him.
Yep.
Pau Gasol talks about Kobe Bryant like they were brothers now, and Kobe went and did that just to send the message. LeBron doesn't have that in him. LeBron is the guy flopping, not the guy running people over. And I think Kobe was greater than LeBron. LeBron's going to be better than Kobe in every statistical counting category because LeBron is a freak in terms of how long he has been able to stay at the top level. But if you're coming down, if the aliens come down to Earth and we got to play a 7-game series with everything on the line and we can have anybody we want, I would take Kobe over LeBron if my life depended on it. And speaking of guys that I want when my life depends on it, Jordan's number one. Obviously, the next time some NBA diva sets out for load management, just remember that Michael Jordan was out there dealing with this shit about a dozen times a night. And he almost never missed a fucking game. Michael Jordan wasn't begging off because they were playing back-to-backs. And he had guys like Rick Mahorn absolutely body slamming him anytime that he attempted to drive to the lane. A lot of these guys today are on in these leagues where, we're looking at every game's 140 to 130, it feels like, and all the three-pointers and the league just being so soft. People say, well, how would Jordan fare today? How would Bird fare today? That the three-point game would eat them up. Well, go back and see how today's players would do playing with 80s and 90s rules and getting clotheslined by Kurt Rambis and Kevin McHale and all those guys running into Jeff Ruland and these beasts that used to roam the lanes. Exactly, But for me, it's Kobe over LeBron. You have a take on that one?
Well, the thing about LeBron is I just think LeBron, there's something in his DNA, and it's, it's probably something deep rooted if I'm a psychologist and in his younger days, but he has a desperate need to be liked. He wants to be liked by everybody. He wants to be seen. He wants to be heard. And, Kobe and Michael I just got the impression they just really didn't care. And there is a distinction, if you want to talk about who's the best basketball player ever, I don't know, maybe LeBron really is in that conversation. But like you said, if you've got a 7-game series and you have to pick one of those three guys to be on your team, you're always picking LeBron last because, Kobe and Michael are absolute stone cold killers, and they will do absolutely anything to win. And I think that's the big difference between the three of them.
Including being complete dicks to their teammates.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it when you watch The Last Dance, the way that Jordan treated some of those young players. I've heard similar stories about Kobe. And, Kobe used to bite his jersey. Do you remember when he would get his jersey in his teeth? He would pull his jersey up sometime. I mean, I remember one game distinctly where he was biting his jersey. The guy was like a mad dog.
Well, he'd get that kind of lockjaw look, or he'd be like,
yeah,
his brain is glitching.
Right. His brain is glitching for victory.
Yeah.
And Jordan the same way. So those guys were in a different category for me than LeBron. LeBron's probably top 5. I don't know. One day, maybe I'll get out my pencil and make my list, but I'm going to take Kobe because to me, Kobe was 90% of MJ. He was Michael, but just not quite 100%. I would say he was 90, maybe even 92%. Michael Jordan. All right. So Ron, have you heard Jerry Jones? There's this new show, Landman. I believe that's what it's called. It's Billy Bob Thornton And what John Hamm and Jerry Jones has a guest appearance on it, and I'm saving it. I think, I famously don't like to watch shows. I don't like to binge watch stuff. I talk about it all the time. I tell my friends, I don't have time to do that. But Landman, and it is Landman, right? I want to call it Landman, but that doesn't make sense. So it's got to be Landman. Somebody confirm for me. I don't fucking know. But anyhow, I saw the previews for it. I just saw the trailer for it one time, and I thought that looks pretty good. What is that? And so Jerry Jones has a cameo as himself, and I'm going to set this up for you, Ron. Jerry Jones, as Jerry Jones, goes to convince a Texas oil CEO played by John Hamm, who brought the great Don Draper to life on Mad Men, and he's telling him that he needs to prioritize his health and prioritize his family, while the CEO's fixer, who is played by Billy Bob Thornton, is sitting there taking it all in and listening attentively. So here we go. I don't know, for Emmy consideration, for us all to enjoy. Get your popcorn. Get back here real quick. I'll give you 3 seconds to go get your popcorn. Jerry Jones now, the thespian.
And so when I got the Cowboys, I got it so that we could all work together. I thought I was doing it for them, but the one that got the most out of it was me. I just know it's not going to be this time, but you're going to be sitting here sometime in the future, laying here sometime in the future. And this room's going to be full of your business associates and the people you've worked with all your life. And more than likely, your children and family are going to be there because they're your children and your family. But you could have them there because they're the people you spent your life with, you worked with, you fell down with, you got up with. Not just Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's who you want to be with.
And I don't know, Dak Prescott. Sometimes when I'm with my family and my sons, I'll turn to my boy and I'll say, "Oh fucking A, why did we give him that contract?"
What do you think about Jerry Jones there? I'm going to say, in all honesty, pretty good. Pretty good. If you didn't know that Jerry Jones is who he is, and you just thought he was some guy playing a rich oil dude on the show, that wasn't bad. I got to give it to Jerry. That was pretty good.
A lot of times when you see an athlete or somebody who's not an actor acting, you can tell it seems very contrived, almost like they're reading the script in their head and they're talking. Like, that was actually really good. Like, he added some emotion. He had some pauses. Like, I do agree with you, man. If I didn't know that was Jerry Jones and I was just watching it, which obviously there's going to be a ton of people watching that show, they're not going to know that he's Jerry. That's actually Jerry Jones. I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, he really did. It's like, I want to sit here and do my Jerry Jones impersonation, but he's got like an IMDb page here. This guy, look at these things that he's been in. He's been in almost as many things as I have.
Did you ever watch the League? Did you ever watch The League?
I did not. No.
Oh my gosh.
I never did that. No.
That show has been off the air for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. It's about all these guys that, are in a fantasy football league together. And one of my friends told me that I should watch it. Ricky, I binged it. I binged like 7 seasons as fast as I could. It was so funny. Like, it is the epitome of guy humor. Like, I really think you'd like it.
All right, I'll take that under advisement and then never watch it like I do with 98% of suggestions. That
you'll put on your list.
Say,
put on your list.
I'll put it on my list that I'll never get to. I'll tell you somebody that's not fucking around, Ron, and that is UCLA men's basketball coach Mick Cronin. He basically lit up his team recently, and I'm just going to go to it, let it speak for itself, and then I'll get your reaction, Ronnie.
But we don't play. We're soft. So don't tell me you want to win. Like, just don't tell me you want to win. So don't tell me you want to win. It's crazy, you know, and it's every day. I'm tired of it. It's every day. I have the most energy of anybody at practice every day. I'm upset with everybody in that locker room, my assistant coaches and my players. I mean, I don't need to do anything else. I almost got 500 wins. I'm only 53. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. But yet I come in and I have more passion and energy and pride than everybody in. That's the problem. So what the truth of it is, Ben, it's really hard to coach people that are delusional. The hungry dog gets the bone. We got guys that think they're way better than they are. They're nice kids. They're completely delusional about who they are.
All right, so he delivered that with all the sincerity that Jerry Jones delivered his lines, and that was easy for him, Ronnie, because he meant every word of that. They lost by 19 at home last night to Michigan, and he took that about as well as you take a loss to Michigan. You're rarely going to hear a coach publicly be that honest about his team.
It sounds like he learned that from Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, those coaches. Phil Jackson, didn't Phil Jackson used to do that, where he would just call players out? He'd call Kobe out, for God's sake. You know, I would just say to Nick, if it's actually true what he's saying and he's just not doing this for effect, you know, maybe recruit different types of players and hire different kinds of coaches if that's really how you feel about him. Like, I don't know, but I just think he's doing the whole
it's
Phil
college
Jackson
basketball. They'll all be gone in 15 minutes anyway. It's time for America's poll of the day, Ronnie. And we've got 4 quality options for you on this Wednesday. This poll brought to you courtesy of myself and producer Tim. He's got 2 options on this list. I've got 2 options on this list. It's one of the, I don't know, Tim, how many songs have we written together now? Is this the first one that has been just a Ricky and Tim joint? I think it may be. Big Red is the first option, and that is the gum, not the beverage, not the world's greatest mascot from my alma mater, Western Kentucky University.
Not Bill Walton.
This is not Bill Walton. This is the Big Red that you chew. That is from Tim. And Tim, let me bring Tim in here. This is a good time to bring Tim in. Tim, what had Big Red on your mind today? Because that's a good one. I like this one.
I mean, has there ever been a more quintessential 80s commercial than Big Red? I mean, my goodness. Before if you ran out of Ludens, well, we also can go to it too. We have it cut. But if you ran out of Ludens, Big Red was absolutely the best thing after Big Ludens cough drops.
All right. Well, hey, man, if we've got the commercial, because all I remember is, you know, so say goodbye a little longer.
Very good. Make it last a little longer.
Shit, so. Yeah.
Let's roll it.
Ronnie's always trying to make it last a little longer.
No little cinnamon gum freshens breath longer than Big Red.
So kiss a little longer, stay close a little longer, hold tight a little longer, longer with Big Red. That Big Red freshness lasts right through it. Your fresh breath goes on and on.
Fresh breath goes on and on.
While you chew it, say goodbye a little longer, make it last a little longer. Give your breath long-lasting freshness with Big Red.
Yeah, baby. Well, I don't know. Is this over? Did we just declare it the winner right now, Tim? I don't even know if I need to get to the other 3 options. All right, I better, because that's a banger. There's no doubt about it. But your other contribution to today's poll is one of my all-time favorite. I mean, this is, I think it's a Yacht Rock. We're going to have to bring in the Yacht Rock playlist consultant here. This goddamn well should be Yacht Rock. Taking It to the Streets by the Doobie Brothers, which is, man, you don't know me, but I'm your brother. Yeah. I was raised here All right, I want to go through the entire thing. Christopher Cross,
incredible.
If you're watching, Christopher Cross, if you're watching, the offer still stands, baby. And then the third and fourth options come courtesy of me. Inside the park home runs. They're rare. It's always exciting that the way that the breath just sort of sucks out of the ballpark as the guy is, heading towards third and people are like, oh my God, is he actually going to try to do it? And then lastly, Oscar the Grouch lives in a goddamn garbage can. Poor son of a bitch. The most realistic. He was the most based member of Sesame Street. I feel like 100% he was the most based guy in that entire community. Probably voted for Trump all 3 times would be my guess.
I think you know my vote. We need to roll it here. We got Solomon standing by here for us as well.
Oh, we got Solomon Wilcots, the great Solomon Wilcots. So let's get to it.
Big Red is too spicy. I like my cinnamon sweet.
It's a runaway here.
Big Red is too spicy, says the guy who choked down an IPA yesterday. Next year's steaks.
A pack of Big Red.
You got to chew a whole pack of Big Red. You'll probably make the same face. Inside the park homers.
That's what I voted for.
I'm a little surprised at 46%.
They're electric, man.
Jeez.
Even if you don't like baseball, they're electric.
They are pretty great. They're more exciting than, a regular home run any day because
absolutely
they're so rare. Ron, I don't know if you saw this or not. Welcome back to the program, everybody. I'm so excited to talk about this spider monkey in the TuTu. I'm not even welcoming you back. It is a Wednesday morning in Chicago still, by the way. But take a look at this, Ron. Deputies recover an escaped spider monkey in a TuTu. And we're able to return the little fella to his home, thankfully, reunited with whoever the sociopath is that keeps a spider monkey with a TuTu in their home. I think there should be a wellness check on that primate, Ron.
Fella, you just assuming it's gender?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, this is true. I do not know its gender, but I'm pretty sure if you put a TuTu on a monkey, you probably have a gender agenda. But this, surprisingly, Ron, did not occur in Florida. I thought this had Florida written all over it, but this happened in Missouri, or Missouri, as my grandmother used to say.
Yeah.
Anything
Rick,
else, Ron? Boy, you're just
I don't have much to add.
I mean, takes on this monkey.
It's a monkey in a dress.
Tell me what you really think, Ron.
You really want me
to? You've been left speechless by this fucking monkey. It just broke your brain.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.